With the introduction of the Ninjabike backpack in the season 11, right, we've been trying to make all type of combinations on builds to try to make good builds with this Ninjabike backpack, because that's the really good point about this backpack. A lot of people are bashing it because it's not the greatest, but honestly I think if you look at it as being a fun way of making builds, you will take advantage of this backpack a lot more and just make a good combination of builds. So with that said, I've been trying to put together a good assault rifle build, but this one actually came in. Not only it's fun to play, also the DPS of this build is very similar to one of my old builds with the Heartbreaker. Now this one I made a Heartbreaker striker build with a Ninjabike backpack, and this one I'm calling it the Heart Striker. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, a like on this video would be super appreciated. Subscribe for more Division 2 content, and yeah, let's get into this. Now, Heartbreaker and the Striker gear set have been for me for a long time my favorite gear sets. I've been using the Striker a lot lately, but the Heartbreaker I did use it a lot also when it was first introduced. It allowed me to do a build that had a lot of damage but also had some survivability with that bonus armor that you can get by shooting your enemies that are pulsed. So that's a good thing about the Heartbreaker, but the Striker, it didn't have that. And different from the Striker had just the best DPS overall, and I used the Striker before the Heartbreaker and after the Heartbreaker. So with that said, came in the Ninjabike backpack, and now I can combine both Heartbreaker and Striker to make this build I'm going to show you guys today, which I call it the Heart Striker. So let's start off with the backpack in this case, right? This is the start of the show. This is what's allowed me to make this build. The Ninjabike backpack is a new exotic that was introduced in season 11. It comes with the 3 core attributes: weapon damage, armor, and skill tier. Now the attributes, it doesn't have any of them, and this specific one I have it with a mod of 6% crit chance. The talent though, it's called Resourceful, slots in with any equipped gear set and or brand set item to fulfill a requirement towards unlocking the gear set bonus. Can unlock bonus from multiple sets simultaneously, and that's what makes this backpack so special, because you can unlock the extra bonuses from the brand set or gear set on your build. So that said, this is how the build is gonna look like. We have the start of the show right there, which is a Ninjabike backpack with 3 Heartbreaker gear set and 2 Striker gear set. Starting off with the Heartbreaker gear sets, because we have the Ninjabike backpack, it's gonna count us we having 4 of them on the build. So we're gonna unlock the 2 pieces bonus, which is a 15% assault rifle damage and LMG damage. The third piece will give us the 15% weapon handling, and then the fourth piece will give us the Heart Stopper, the brand set talent. Headshot applies a pulse for 5 seconds. Weapon hits on a pulse enemy adds a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% damage to pulse enemies up to a max of 50 stacks, and 2 stacks are lost each second. Now the chest piece of a gear set always have a extra talent, right? So for the Heartbreaker, it has the max BPM, increase max stacks from Heartstopper from 50 to 100 stacks. So we're gonna get, instead of 50% weapon damage to pulse enemies, we're gonna get 100% weapon damage stacks to the enemy. Now for the mask, I have core attribute weapon damage and attribute crit damage with a mod of crit chance. For the chest piece, we have weapon damage and attribute crit damage with a mod of crit chance. And last but not least, on the gloves, we have a core attribute weapon damage with attribute of crit chance. Now moving for the next gear set on this build will be the Striker, obviously, right? So on the Striker gear set, we have 2 of them equipped on the build, but because we have the Ninjabike backpack, it's gonna count as me having 3 of them. So by having 3, we'll unlock the 2 pieces bonus, which is a 15% weapon handling, which, by the way, weapon handling means reload speed, accuracy, and stability. And you can see we're getting weapon handling from the Heartbreaker gear set and the Striker gear set, and also from the Keener watch if we have that all the way unlocked, right? Now going back for the Striker, the third piece gives us the 15% rate of fire, and this is what I wanted, because this right here is what's gonna allow us to have that DPS boost to our build, because DPS also includes a rate of fire. Now for this holster, I have core attribute weapon damage and attribute crit damage. And then on the snippets, I actually have core attribute armor in here and attribute crit chance. Now the reason why I have armor is just because I wanted to get over that 1 million armor, and that's basically it. If I wanted more damage, I can change this for damage, but I feel like the weapon is already hitting pretty hard on this build, so that's good enough. Now let's move on for the weapons. So the weapons that I use on this build will be a Vector SBR 45 ACP and also the Police M4. Now which one of these is the primary? Honestly, it doesn't really matter. I use both of them, and to be honest, if you want to go for the highest DPS, the Vector will be your choice. Will hit the enemies very hard at close range, and the Police M4 obviously it will be from mid to long range and also has a good DPS. I use this Vector on the same build on the Capitol Building Legendary Solo, and it was just shredding the enemies. So this is a very good weapon for this build specifically. Now, when it comes to AR, I give you two choices in here. I know a lot of you guys are gonna talk about the Heartbreaker, which technically has the highest DPS compared to the Police M4, but the reason why I chose the Police M4 over the Heartbreaker is because it's the RPM. Now the Heartbreaker will have a decent RPM on this build because of the 15% rate of fire of the Striker, but obviously the Police M4 will have a higher RPM overall. And the reason why I use the Police M4 is because the bonus armor that you can get from the Heartbreaker gear set talent, it's by hit, not by the damage or DPS. So the faster you hit your enemies, the faster you will gain that bonus armor. So that's why I like to have a fast RPM weapon on a Heartbreaker build to take advantage of that bonus armor. And with that said, and that's why the Striker combined on the Heartbreaker build will increase that RPM, will make this build and the bonus armor even better. Now if you take a look at the mods of this Police M4, it's gonna be the same for the Heartbreaker if you want to use the Heartbreaker. I have the 5% crit chance on the scope, I have the plus 20 rounds on the extended magazine, I have 5% crit chance on the muzzle, and last but not least, we have on the underbarrel, we have the linked laser pointer. Now this is a laser pointer that you can get only by equipping the technician specialization. And what this does, basically, once you have this on your gun, as soon as you aim at an enemy, it will automatically pulse that enemy, and we need pulse to activate the Heartbreaker gear set talent and also the talent of this weapon. And speaking of talent, for this weapon we have the talent Flatline. Now Flatline amplifies weapon damage by 15% to pulse enemies, and that's why we have the linked laser pointer in there. And moving for the Vector is going to be about the same thing. We have the talent, also the Flatline, and also one thing that I should mention, this is the only type of Vector that can have the linked laser pointer. That way we can put the Flatline on it. As you know, there's three types of vectors in the game. There is this Vector SBR 45 ACP, there is the Tactical Vector SBR 9mm, and also there is the Vector SBR 9mm. These two, you cannot put the linked laser pointer on them, and the 45 ACP is the one that you can. Now taking a look at the mods that I have for this Vector, this one actually is going to be interesting, right? So starting with the scope, I actually have the ACOG scope that give me a 20% optimal range. The Vector has a very bad optimal range when it comes to SMG. SMGs in general are meant for close range, but the Vector is one of the lowest one. So the ACOG gives me a good optimal range that allows me to shoot a little bit further if I want to hit an enemy from far. Not too far though. I could go with crit damage, but the crit damage is only about 5%, so you know, it's up to you if you want to go with the ACOG. You can go with this one for more damage if you want. On the muzzle we have that plus 5% crit damage. On the magazine we have the plus 20 rounds. And last but not least, as I mentioned, on the underbarrel we have the linked laser pointer that we can get by equipping the technician specialization to be able to pulse our enemies by aiming at them with this laser. Now for the skills I have for my build, I have the Fixer Drone and also the Holographic Distraction Decoy. The Fixer Drone is gonna allow me to top off that armor that I'm gonna get hit from time to time. Even though I have the bonus armor from the Heartbreaker, I might take a bullet here and there, so the Fixer Drone is just to top it off. And then the Holographic, obviously that's a distraction decoy, allows me to throw it out there to make the enemies focus on that. Now, taking a look at the stats of this build, we're gonna start with the Police M4. I have a total of 110 weapon damage, 50% crit chance, which I could get higher, but honestly my vector is already capped, so I didn't want to go too high on this one, but 50 is what I recommend in here. And then crit damage, 81% crit damage, 75% headshot damage, 21% health damage, and a 10% damage to target out of cover that does not show on weapon stats. Switching for the vector, we have a total of 90,000 weapon damage, 60% crit chance, like I said. Now this is not way over the crit chance cap, this is actually right there on crit chance. I already checked the build. And then crit damage will have the 91% crit damage. Now if I change that scope, it's gonna drop down to 86% crit damage, and then 70% headshot damage, and then that 10% damage to target out of cover that does not show on these weapon stats. So yeah guys, let me know what you guys think of this build. Let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite Ninjabike backpack build so far that you have made. If you have tried this one, what weapon have you used, the Kingbreaker or the Police M4, or maybe the Vector, because the Vector is very powerful with the Heartbreaker. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed, hit me with a like, I would appreciate. If you're new, subscribe. If you want to become a member of the channel to help the channel even more, thank you for the members. By the way, that on my channel I keep forgetting saying thank you. I appreciate you, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video.